Hi guys, and welcome back to Dark Files. Today we're going to be talking about 5 of the most horrific murders in history, part 1. Now the first murder I'm going to be talking about is a murder that happened on the 19th of April 1943. And there was a woman called Bella. Her body was found in Worcester in the West Midlands of England by 3 boys that was hunting and poaching for like birds and animals. They saw a tree which was hollow as they were hunting the birds. And they were curious and looked inside the tree. The person who looked inside of it screamed. They were so horrified. And when the other boys came over and checked what was inside, they had seen a badly decomposed skull with hair still attached to the skull, which points out that this skull is new. Because if it was an old skull, the hair wouldn't be there, it would rot away. And when the skull was found, detectives have searched the area where the murder took place and found some possessions that were owned to this lady called Bella. And the possessions that was found was a wedding ring and a shoe. So that's not much. That's all they have found in the search. When the skull was discovered, it was strangely placed in a tree trunk, and they found something in the jaw of the skull, and it turned out to be a crumpled taffeta cloth. Forensics have revealed that the body has been smothered and mutilated, and then they said that her body was forcibly stuffed into the tree trunk almost after death. Her body was kind of alive at the moment, and everything was kind of still working as she was put in the tree trunk. Which, if I think about it, it's really disturbing, and I just can't imagine being there as one of the boys. This murder has gone global, and people have said that this body was part of a satanic ritual, and that's probably why she has been murdered, and nothing has come forward about what was behind this incident and why she died, and why do people think that she was in a satanic cult or anything related to a satanic cult, and why she was placed in the tree trunk in a certain way when they found her. That is it's pretty disturbing if whatever way you see it as. Now this one we're going to be talking about is called the Oakland County Child Killer. In the years of 1976 to 1977, a 11-year-old boy called Timothy King disappeared as the Oakland County child killings were going on at the time. But then his body was then later found 6 days later when Timothy King went missing, and his body was posed with his skateboard and the clothes that he had been wearing, and strangely has been neatly pressed and washed. And if someone's clothes have been washed or done anything to make them clean, it shows that he was not the only one that was there at the time. Somebody else must have been there with him. But then when the body was found, the authorities have found other bodies with that body, only in certain different locations, not all placed as one thing, all in different around the county. And the authorities have said that the killer has abducted and killed more than 4 children, which were 2 boys and 2 girls at the age of 12 and 13, or teenagers. But then the strange part of this is that everybody that was found in the Oakland County was strangely placed neatly in the snow out in public. As in public, then loads of people just walk past and they look around and everything, so people have seen these. And weirdly, one of the bodies was really close to a police station. Now the next one we're going to be talking about is the missing of Susie Azure. Now I've searched everything that I could and got all the information that you need to know about this, and highlighted a few things. On the 28th of July 1986, a 25-year-old Susie Azure went out to show a man around his house. I think he was trying to purchase this house, or just think about purchasing this house. And the house that he was looking at was in Fulham in London. But after she showed him around the house, she was never seen again. Just after she was declared missing, police have then discovered that her white Ford Fiesta was parked at another property that was up for sale 1.5 miles away from her appointment with the man that was looking around the house. So what I can see from this is that the car was drove by the man that she was shown around. And in the car, when the police found it, they searched what's inside of the car, and then what they found, strangely, was that the ignition key was missing and her purse was mysteriously left behind. Reasons for this has been unknown, but I'm guessing the kidnapper only wanted things that meant the most to him. For example, Susie, and to be honest, I think he only cared about the person, not her possessions. But strangely enough, the last month before Susie was declared missing, then there was a breakthrough after a cold case reviewed. Detectives began to dig up the former home of the mother of the first suspects to be interrogated and questioned. That it was John Cannon. And then after that, there was a theory that police came up with, saying that Susie's body was placed in a pit in a garage filled from bottom to top with concrete. But after 2 weeks searching for the house in Sutton Coldfield in Birmingham, the police came up with announcing that Susie has not been found, and since then there was no evidence to uncover this investigation. So this disappearance is still going on. Nothing has been found. So she's still missing from this day. Now this one, what we're going to be talking about, is a very sensitive topic, which took place in Italy, in the city of Florence. During the late 1960s up to the 1985, some unknown individual have murdered at least 16 people and around the area of the Italian city of Florence. Society of Italy has called this person not a monster but El Monstro, who would scout out the area targeting loved couples and would immediately shoot them at close range with a .22 caliber Beretta. Now the worst part about this case is that the killer would mutilate the sexual organs of the female victims with a sharp knife and would keep them as a souvenir. Reasons have been unknown and why. And the authorities have believed that the murderer would stalk the victims prior to the murders and haunted them. Police have then discovered that the disassemblment of the bodies were near surgical precision, and that this suggests that the murder has had medical background, since the cuts in the body were very precise in the cuts. Detectives have investigated more than 100,000 people, but the identity of the murderer is still unknown and still remains a mystery. Now the last one we're going to be talking about is probably one of the most known murders to England history, and has probably been the one that you have heard of before and you're more common with. This is the Jack the Ripper murders. 1888 in Whitechapel, London. There was many reports of brutal murders directly aiming at prostitutes that lived and worked in the east end of London, which were buildings which people would call them slums. And the prostitutes were murdered by having their throats slit and the organs removed. By at least 3 victims in London have been affected by this. Coincidentally, the killer has had anatomical or surgery knowledge, just like the murders in Florence in Italy. So what I can see here is that these two killers have something in common. They both have surgical experience, so this shows that they both have probably been a doctor or a surgeon in the past. And I think that these people have had stressful lives as a doctor or a surgeon, or something that has happened to them that has made them be like this, like a mental state, a psychotic mind. And after like a few days later, letters were also received by media outlets and Scotland Yard from a writer or writers perpetrating to be the murderer. And in one of those letters it says the name Jack the Ripper came from a letter written by someone claiming to be the murderer. Many people have their thoughts on this, saying that the letter actually was a hoax, and the letter might have been written by a journalist to increase the interest of the story and also to increase the newspaper circulation. But all of these have been unknown, and that the killer is still unknown and still one of the most unknown murders of London history. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is part 1, so don't worry, there's a part 2 coming, but I'm still working on that at the moment. So if you have any suggestions of what I should do next on different murders or unsolved disappearances, please just put whatever you like in the comment section on what video I should do next. If you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel. It really means so much to me. Now go subscribe to the Tech Dot and just give him all the support, because he's helped me edit these videos and teach me to do loads of things in YouTube, and has been a role model to me and introducing to me to YouTube, because I've never sat in the front of a camera and talked about many things. This has been Dark Files, and I'm out.